Hi, my name is Jav Kaiut. I am a neuroscience researcher, yoga teacher, and health enthusiast. And today, I'm going to be talking to all of you a little bit about one of my favorite topics out there. Why the human body becomes rigid with age. Most people believe that the aging process, getting stiff, rigid, having that knee pain, that shoulder pain, that hip that was never the same after that injury when you were 40. Most people assume that this excessive amount of joint rigidity is actually a crucial and normal part of aging, when in fact, aging itself, it's a completely different process. What most people call aging is just a gradual process of losing joint function and range of mobility. The human body was designed by nature to have as much exposure to movement as possible. We were designed to crawl, to jump, to run, to sleep in uncomfortable sleeping places, on the floor, in rocks. And with time, our overall comfort created this environment in which we are not exposed to the full range of movement that the body was designed to. So it's not, in fact, just the sitting in the chair or the being on a computer the whole day that is the problem, but the lack of variety of movement. The problem is that you just do one thing, that you don't have your joints, your body exposed to movement in the way that it was designed to actually be moving and be performing. The modern body lives within a very small range of movement. The same car, the same chair on work, the same bed that you sleep every day. So on average, we spend most of our lifetime under the same patterns. And then, on a brief joint explanation, biomechanical explanation, what happens is, when we move our body, when we move our joints, not only we make bones, cartilage, absorb more nutrients, become more flexible, but we also contribute to synovial fluid. So the fluid that keeps most of our joints good and healthy, moving through them. So what happens is, when we deprive ourselves from overall movement, we deprive the process of a variety of different biological processes that the body needs in order to stay active and to stay performing during a lifetime of life. When we stop moving, most of our tissues, they get rigid. With this rigidity, you gotta remember that the brain and the body, they are highly connected. So when the brain starts to sense rigidity, it doesn't try to actively engage with more. It just deprives you from that specific range of movement that you're no longer using. So this is why this entire process is so important, because the moment that you start to lose your overall joint function, mobility, and range of motion, you actually start to bring the same pattern into your brain. The brain doesn't simply control the body, but it receives lots of input from the body. So think about all the sensory maps that you have going on currently. So from you being able to feel your big toe to you being able to feel your face, everything is part of this entire huge brain map that you have in terms of sensory information. And not only that, pressure, temperature, all of those things, they create to the brain this entire map of yourself. When we start to lose mobility, we also lose part of that sensory mapping, and that reduces the overall brain map. So what happens is, your brain adapts to the losses, to the lack of mobility, to the lack of range of movement. Mostly because the brain itself is this incredible machine, incredible thing. So think about it. If you tell your brain that you gotta stay seated in a chair 8, 12 hours every day, it will deprive you from feeling the negative side effects first. So you won't feel that much hip pain or that much lower back pain at first when you start a desk job. But then after some years in it, this pain will slowly build up, because the brain, at first, it will require from you an information like, do you want to be in this position for this amount of time? And you tell yourself, yes, because that's my work. So I cannot be having pain every couple hours. So the brain won't signal to you at the moment it needs to move a bit to, have all the biological functions happening. You'll just keep working. And then after a lifetime of the same pattern, the body starts to take a little toll in this entire equation. So this is why it's so important for us to understand it's not just the brain that controls the body, but the body has a huge impact on the brain. So if we lose mobility, if we lose our basic overall functionalities, the brain itself loses its overall capacity to regulate and to coordinate ourselves in the best possible way. And with less coordination, there's more rigidity, because the brain needs to keep everything functioning, but still knowing that, oh, that ankle no longer moves as it was supposed to, that hip doesn't move as it was supposed to. So it starts to make things more rigid, make controlled, to diminish the overall range in which you move. So the brain tries to lock you up, but this is to protect you. And then, when all of those things start to happen, we come to the point in which our body starts to compensate. So the ankle doesn't move as it was supposed to. The knee doesn't move as it was supposed to. A lifetime of doing one thing exactly in the same way created a pattern. That pattern created a compensatory way for your body to move, and that unbalanced way of moving, because think about it, if you do one thing, just one thing, mechanically every day, you start to have a specific part of your body aging faster than all the other ones. This is basically what happens. Repetitive pattern of movement creates compensation. Compensation then will lead to this tiring, to this aging of specific parts more than others, and then we start to get into this accelerated type of aging that we see, that is marked by typically losses in overall functionality and mobility in your own body. And then we have a body that is aging uneven. And when that happens, we start to lose adaptability, because the body was made mobile, not just cause, but mostly because we need to adapt to our environment, we need to adapt to stress, and we need to be able to grow under those perturbations. We need to be able to grow when we face a new stress, a new challenge, a new thing that we need to learn in our lives. This is how the body's supposed to behave. But when we have that physical rigidity, you will see that we start to narrow our options. So you will see how many people at the age of 60 nowadays are able to play the sport that they were playing when they were 20, when they were 30. We don't have that anymore, mostly because we don't have a body that ages in a sustainable way. So why? Mostly because we let our patterns sink in, and then they kind of decide how we move, and there's no actual clear thought on how to engage with that, because it's just who we are. But in fact, there's always a way, because our joints are able to recover lost movement. But in order to recover joint movement, we need to understand that it's not another strength, fitness, flexibility thing that will actually do the trick, but actually is being able to restore and engage with a lost range of movement, and not just the muscle, but the joint. The joint is the main thing. So you will see that through restoring joint movement, we're able to overall reduce most chronic pain, not just because we're working on the pain trauma itself, but because we give to the brain this overall remapping that allows it to set free from most of the overall unnecessary tensions that we guard on our day by day. So there is a way for us to be able to recover overall joint movement, no matter where you are in life, no matter your age, no matter what you do. All of us were able to recover. And for us to recover, there's only a very simple logic that we need to follow. We all need to be going against our pattern, against our mechanical pattern. So when we practice whatever sort of physical activity you do, I do yoga, I love yoga. So whatever you do, you gotta go against the rigidity patterns that you have in your own body. You got to understand that this needs to be done in a highly passive way, because the joint, different from muscle, doesn't respond from strength. It responds with time, passivity, and a variety of ranges of movement that once you had, now are lost. So this is how we're able to recover not only our overall joint integrity, but we're able to age in a highly more efficient way. So most of our modern bodies, they get rigid and they age, and it's not because we simply are meant to be aging, but it's because we don't engage with things that are able to keep us performing in life better. And in my view, in what I've seen this past few years, it's all due to joint rigidity. When your joints start to get rigid, you will see yourself compensating in movements. Compensation will directly lead you towards pain, and pain leads you to an accelerated aging process. Understand this. Aging is not an accumulate of losses. Aging is basically a gradual loss of joint function. But if we can change that, we can definitely change the aging process to something a lot better. Thank you so much for being with me today, and keep tuned to the next video.